Howdy folks, welcome back to the Eagle's Nest. Got some new ammunition that we are going to test out today. It's the new Lapua, super long range and long range. Stay tuned, you guys will like this one. So in this video, we're going to try out to see what exactly this does. Now, we were at the SHOT Show booth in 2023, checking out this new ammunition, talking to Brian Litz and talking to Team Lapua. And this ammunition itself is primarily built around to shoot somewhat in the transonic zone. So supposedly it's faster. We'll find out. Today's weather conditions is actually pretty warm here in Arizona, and what I plan on doing in this video is showcasing what it does in my region. I'm also going to be traveling into North Carolina to shoot a match, so we'll also do some testing in that region, coming from 70-degree weather down to roughly the 40s. So density altitude. There was a great live chat that Rick from Is Your Six covered, hosted with Ray from the X-Ring channel. Highly advise you guys to check that out. But in this video, we're going to check this stuff out currently here. Kind of do a two-part series, shooting the Lapua long range first and then the super long range. So kind of going over this ammunition, one of the first things that I noticed when taking this thing out was it's actually less like waxy. There's actually less lubricant on this ammunition itself. Comparing this to the SK and Lapua minus plus ammo, it's actually very minimal. Another thing I did notice as well is that both ammunition itself, the projectiles are pretty much firm. None of these are loose from one box that I actually tested. Each one of these projectiles are actually nice and fitted and crimped on the cartridge itself. But the actual profile of the bullet, we'll take a look at the super long range here, is no different than the Center X or minus plus. At the booth at SHOT Show, I did kind of bust their balls. I know everybody's going to say, well, Lapua coming out with new ammunition, they can't even keep hold of or in stock the Center X or minus plus. And they did say that they do plan on having that more readily available. This may be possibly in the lot test centers very shortly. But that is a close-up of the ammunition itself. You can see the profile itself doesn't look anything different. I'll go back and actually do some measurements, but as of right now, the only thing that I did notice, like I said, is very minimal on the wax, but we'll see how this thing performs. So the rifle we are going to be shooting this out of is a Rim X, and it's a 24-inch barrel, ACC Elite chassis, and it does have a Schillen Select Match chambered to favor the Lapua ammo. We're going to try this at 50 yards and then stretch it out to 100. I'm also going to put on a magneto speed to see what kind of velocities we get. So let's get to it. Okay, so we're going to give the long range a try first. Now I do have to re-season this barrel. It does have Ely shot down through it, but we'll shoot 10 shots. Unfortunately, my magneto speed, I don't have the Arca Rail adapter, so I'll get back to you on the velocities. But we'll go ahead and shoot for groups first. Then when I get back to the shop, I'll throw a 10 down pipe. We'll aim for the top left first. Again, we're going to season this bore. Doesn't sound supersonic. It actually sounds pretty quiet. I'm going to assume that's around 1090. Okay, that was the same hole in the second shot, or third shot there. Same hole in the fourth shot. That's holding a pretty tight group. So let's do 5 more here. Should be seasoned up on the board here, but that's a perfect 0 still. It's shooting really tight, guys. Last one. Ooh, flyer. Okay, so one flyer out of that. So long range and super long range essentially is like Center X and Midas Plus. Now the prices of this ammunition will be a little bit more than what Center X and Midas Plus is. Obviously, it's going to be a little bit unattainium right now. I did get this from Good Shooting. Big shout out to Kathy there at Good Shooting Sports. She did help us out and get some of this. We did have a case arrive today. So I'm very, very eager to see what this does at 100 yards. Let's get another 5 shots here, 50. Yeah, I hit low for some reason. And it's kind of falling apart here. I was in the same hole. Okay, 5 more shots just to make sure. Get an all-around performance out of this. Okay, up next, the Lapua super long range. Let's see if this does any better at 50. We'll aim at the right side of the target now, kind of separate everything. We'll do 5 shots of this. This barrel should be pretty seasoned now with this Lapua ammo. Well guys, here it is, and I'm not going to cherry pick any of these groups. Shoot very good. So this was the first 5 shots with the super long range. Next 5 with a small little flyer there. Next 5, and then the last 5. You can see those groups are pretty good in my opinion. Here is a super long range. First 5 shots were there. Next 5, last 5. So the performance of this ammo is doing very well. Let's go ahead, take this ammunition up to 100 yards and see what it can do. Okay, 100 yards now, super long range is what I have fouled in. 1.7 on the dial, and we'll aim at the bottom left targets here. Let's see how this performs at 100. Let's go for one of the top squares. Huge significant cold bore shift or something there. That was right on the same hole as the last one. Okay, that was 5. Do 5 more. I'm going to come down to 1.5 on the dial. That is the same hole. That's a pretty tight group at 100. Let's throw another 5 more. All right. So ammunition is definitely holding a sub 1 inch, 100 yards. Really happy with that. If I get a better range session when I have optimal range conditions, I'm going to go ahead and retest this accuracy at 100 yards. But as I could tell with how it's stacking up, it's definitely a damn performer. So living up to the name, super long range, I would say a thumbs up right now.
All right guys, I just shot with the wind kind of calmed down, 15 shots, and that was, it produced one of the best 5-shot 100-yard groups I've seen. With the super long range, we'll go ahead and walk this up, but it is amazing. Really loving the performance of this ammunition. Very rarely do I see this with, you know, either Elite 10X or whatnot, but I would definitely say that I did shoot sub ½ inch at 100 yards, 2 groups back to back basically. So let me go ahead and paste this off. So this rifle shot a group what looks like I usually produce at 50 yards, but that was shot at 100. That is 5 shots, and that is an amazing group. The next 5 are right there, and then the next 5, excluding this shot right here, that is the last 5 shots. Now that's 100 yards. You see this thing is just hammering. Really happy with the performance, especially that. That's probably the best 5-shot 100 group I've ever shot so far. Huge thumbs up.
All right, so I'm gonna do a velocity test here. Garage popping. Lapua, super long range. And I'm just gonna hold the magneto speed right here in the front. Here we go, first shot. 1069. 1071. 1086, 1075, all right, 10 shots, average velocity of 1071, SD of 7.6. All right, Lapua, long range. 1079, 1074, 1077, 1082, 1071, 1069. Oh, misread. 1083, 1071, 1075. 1058. Average velocity 1073, SD is 7.3. Slightly better than the super long range. All right guys, back at the shop and took an average of the group size. The first 5 shots, including the cold bore here, made a measurement of 1 inch, 729 thousandths. And without the cold bore, that is a 0.633. The average group size of this whole thing of the super long range was a 0.729 without the cold bore and a 0.851 with the cold bore flyer. So super long range performing very well. Best group was this at a 0.430. If it wasn't for this, that would be in the ones, guys. So that is a amazing group for 100 yards with the super long range. As far as the long range, same thing. The wife was shooting this, so she shot a group of 0.884, and then the next 5 shots was the best 5-shot group ever. This is a 0.228, 5 shots at 100 yards with the long range. Now, average group size 0.754, 1 inch and 71 thou, 0.773, 0.838. That all averaged out with the long range 0.758 inch group. Very very good performance out of both this ammunition. You can see that either one of those ammunition itself had one little flyer here and there. So the long range itself also had one flyer. So I would say that the performance of either one of this ammunition itself is pretty much on par, and you know, not much of a difference. But to see this at 100 yards, that's pretty good. 50-yard groups were this. Like I said, this is the first 5 shots, and it's hard to determine the rifle's accuracy just based off 50-yard groups. 100-yard groups, excluding the elements that we had out today, this is pretty much a good judgment of what this rifle and ammunition can do. Obviously, we would like to take this out to 300 yards and see what it'll do. I will definitely do so in a future video when I have optimum range conditions. I just don't want to have any excuses and want to have the full potential of the ammunition itself. But as far as the velocity, getting 1,071 to 1,073 feet a second, SD's a 7.5, a little bit higher than what I would consider a super good lot of ammo. But this rifle definitely loves it. Well, I'm gonna get back to you guys in North Carolina at the VOD Icebreaker match. I'm taking this rifle and this ammunition and see what I can do there. Stay tuned.